Good morning, dear students. So, today we will read the rest part of the chapter Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood by Anis Jung. As I told you earlier in the previous tutorial, that the author has discussed child labor, which is a national shame. She calls it a shame because despite all the efforts of the governmental and the NGOs and various acts, still there are children who are working as child laborers. As you all know, the main reason is poverty, illiteracy. These poor people have no other choice other than send their children to such small works, to do such small works, either in some small factories or in agriculture, or picking up the rags and doing such menial jobs to earn their livelihood. The parents are so poor that they cannot support their family, and so the children under the age of 14, right from the age of 5 to 14, also have to work to earn their livelihood. So you can remember that they sometimes work in small restaurants also, and at tea shops. As we all know, that Sahib-e-Alam also had taken up a job at a tea stall. So just before I start with the next part of the chapter, we will just recapitulate what we had read about Sahib-e-Alam. Now I would like you to understand Sahib's story in three major categories. First of all, Sahib's family. What is the past of Sahib's family and what is the present situation? In the past, Sahib's parents were staying in Dhaka, where due to storm and droughts, their fields, their houses, everything was destroyed. And due to this destruction or devastation, they had to migrate towards Delhi and earn their livelihood. They had lost everything in that storm. They had their fields, they had their houses there, but now they are homeless. And 10,000 rag pickers came to Delhi and settled at the periphery of Delhi. The name of the place is Simapuri. So this is the past of Sahib-e-Alam's family. Now let us talk about the present situation. The present is that they are rag pickers, and that is how they earn their livelihood. They don't require their identity. They don't want. That is not important for them. Food is more important for them. The government has taken care of them, and they have been given ration cards so that they can buy some food grains. Now the second category is desire. What is the hidden desire of Sahib-e-Alam? His hidden desire is to go to school, one, as any small child would like to do. And the second desire is to play tennis. He was so fascinated by the two gentlemen who used to play tennis at the tennis club, and he used to watch from outside the fence and used to enjoy the game from outside the fence. And this is how he used to come to terms with his fate and go back to his work. Now, the third category is his final situation. What is his final situation? he has taken up a job at a tea stall, and there he is paid 800 rupees and all his meals, but he doesn't seem to be happy. Now, what is the cause of his unhappiness? As a child, for him, earning money was not very important. When he was a rag picker and when he used to run towards the garbage heaps along with his playmates, he used to find sometimes a rupee or a 10 rupee note or some silver coin, and in this way they used to explore the garbage heaps, and he enjoyed it. He used to do it at his will. He had a lot of freedom. He used to carry a plastic bag on his shoulders, and he did it very happily. On the other hand, now when he is working in a tea stall, he has to carry a big steel canister, which is so burdensome for him because he has lost all his freedom. And that is why Sahib-e-Alam does not feel happy about it. The meaning of his name is Lord of the Universe. But hardly does he know or care about that. Similarly, we have the story of Mukesh. Now, these two examples or the stories of these two children described by the author shows that how the small children are forced to follow the tradition of their generations. From past many generations, they have been doing this work of rag picking or maybe any other work. So Mukesh also is the victim of child labor, and he also takes up the job of bangle making at Firozabad. Students, let me tell you, Firozabad is also known as the city of glass or the glass city, and it is also known as Suhag city. Suhag means the married lady's destiny or the married ladies. You also must have gone to the market and you must have seen, or you may be attending some marriage party or birthday parties, you must have seen the beautiful ladies wearing beautiful bangles. How are these made? Do we ever realize that these small things, we don't even take care of them? We love to wear them, but how are these small children into this bangle factories? How are they producing it? What are they losing? At what cost are they doing that? What is the price that they are paying for it? They have to work in very small hutments, small dingy cells, which is devoid of any ventilation, and they work there for many long hours. So Mukesh's family was into bangle making. His father, his grandfather, they all were in the same profession, same work. Mukesh obviously had to do the same job, but somewhere he also had a hidden desire. And what is that hidden desire? If you open the books, you will see the first line quoted by the author is, "I want to drive a car." So this is the hidden desire that the author finds out while talking to Mukesh. Mukesh wants to be a good mechanic, motor mechanic, and wants to drive a car. So in this part of the chapter, we will read about the deplorable condition of these bangle makers, how they work for long hours beyond 12 hours sometimes to earn us their livelihood. And they are living in a very pathetic condition, just as Sahib-e-Alam's family also at Simapuri had made mud houses, roofs were made of tin and tarpaulin, and similarly in Firozabad also the huts were very in a very poor condition. It reflected the poverty there. There were very narrow lanes, and all the families into the bangle making were used to stay there together, used to stay in small lanes. So now, in continuation, we will read the chapter, and therefore you will now, in the continuation, you will also see the chapter. If you have not downloaded the app, NCERT Books app, please do, and please find out Flamingo, this chapter, from there. Okay, so I will continue. Yes, dear students, you can see I want to drive a car is in quotes, and this is the desire made by Mukesh. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. I is the author, and again she is in a conversation with Mukesh. I will learn to drive a car, he answers. Looking straight into my eyes, his dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town, Firozabad. Now, mirage, you all know that it is an optical illusion of something that is present before you, and famous for its bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So Firozabad seems to be the center. As I told you, it is known as Glass City. It is the center of glass making factories where people work around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. Mukesh's family is among them. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures. The author says that they are ignorant of the fact that they cannot put the children into child labor or working as laborers in these glass bangle making factories. Now look at the condition: high temperatures, dingy cells without air and light, dingy cells, very small rooms, clustered, people sit together, and there is hardly any room or any ventilation. That the law, if enforced, could get him and all these 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours. In the daylight, they do not even get proper sunlight. They can't even go out and see the daylight because they work for so long hours and they lose the brightness of their eyes. Mukesh's eyes beam as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. We walk down stinking lanes choked with garbage, past homes that remain novels with crumbling walls, wobbly doors, no windows, crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting in the primeval state. He stops at the door of one such house, bangs a wobbly iron door with his foot, and pushes it open. We enter a half-built shack. Now this is the condition of Mukesh's house. Wobbly doors. Wobbly doors means shaking. The doors are all not properly fixed. There are no windows. And the walls are also they are supposed to be made of mud, and therefore they seem to be crumbling. They are not very firm. Animals also, their pet animals also, cows, goats and all those stays together in the same place. He stops at the door of one such house, bangs a wobbly iron door with his foot, and the wobbly iron door which is there at his house also is very shaky, and it is in tattered condition, and pushes it open. we enter a half-built shack. Shack is a small hut covered by a straw roof, you can say that. If one part of it thatched with dead grass, see, thatched with dead grass is a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel with sizzling spinach leaves. On the ground in a large aluminium platters are more chopped vegetables. A frail young woman, frail, a very weak young woman, is cooking the evening meal. Mukesh's elder brother, the lady who was cooking meal was wife of Mukesh's elder brother. Not much older in years, she has begun to command respect as the Bahu, the daughter-in-law of the house. Already in charge of 3 men, she had to take care of these 3 people, husband, Mukesh, and their father. Now, when the older man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face. As a custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces. Veil means to cover their faces before male elders. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. Impoverished, very poor. The elder, the father of Mukesh's father, is a poor bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor and then a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house. Renovate means, so Mukesh's father is so poor that he cannot even renovate a house, get the house repaired, as the doors are all very unstable, no windows. So he feels that he is so incapable. He is not even able to send his sons to school, and the skill he knows is only making bangles. It is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother. Now in the Mukesh family, you can see there are Mukesh's father, Mukesh's grandfather, and his brother's wife. They have watched her. It is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Polishing of the glass of bangles, when the rough surface is scraped so that it can be made smooth. The bangles, when they are made smooth, that is called as polishing the glass of the bangles. And he had become blind. Now in the house, they have seen nothing but bangles in the house. There are many colored bangles, you can see gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple, every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow. You can see every color of the bangles they make there. They lie in hounds of unkept yards. Unkempt yards. These bangles lie in mounds in unkempt yards. Unkempt, kept very untidily, not in proper arrangement. They are piled on 4-wheeled hand carts. After making them, they are piled on the carts and pushed by young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town. And in dark hutments, next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps, sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers, welding pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. And how they make bangles is that they have to melt, or they have to weld it in the oil lamps. And these girls and boys, these children, they sit with their parents and weld the glass bangles into a circular form. Now that is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. Savita, a young girl in a drab pink dress, sits alongside an elderly woman soldering the pieces of glass. Soldering or welding the pieces of glass. As her hands move mechanically like the tongs of a machine, I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. So the author is wondering whether this girl who is making these bangles, does even she know the sanctity of the bangles, that these bangles are actually a mark of suhag. and after some time she will also be a married woman, and she does not even know the auspiciousness of marriage. And then one day when she will be married, she will come to realize the importance of the bangles that she is making, and these red bangles will be rolled onto her wrists. She will then become a bride, like the old woman beside her who became one many years ago. Now, the old woman who was sitting beside her, she had also become a bride, she was married, and she used to make these bangles. And the bangles are still there on her hands, but the old woman had become blind. There is no light in her eyes. The bangles are there on her wrists, but no light in her eyes. And what does she tell in Hindi? एक वक्त शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया, she says, in a voice drained of joy. In a very dull manner, she gives a reply to the author who asks her how she is feeling there. She says, एक वक्त शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. शेर is a measurement of rice, or you can say flour. Sair is less than 1 kg, and she says, I haven't taken that much meal even my any time. She says in a voice of drained of joy, she has not enjoyed. So their life cycle is revolving around poverty, apathy, greed, and injustice. So they are not getting any sympathy from anybody, and they are living in poverty. They are the victims of greed and injustice also. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. One of the family caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. So their families are caught in a web of poverty and caste system. The stigma of caste in which they are born, these are the basis of the injustice being done to them. The other, a vicious circle of the sahukars. So these poor people, the bangle makers, are suffering two things. One thing, poverty, stigma of caste, and on the other hand, in the society there are people who are doing injustice to them. That is vicious circle of the sahukars, the businessmen, the middlemen, the policemen, and the keepers of law, the bureaucrats and the politicians. So these people are there who are putting pressure on them, and they do not allow them to think anything different other than doing this job of making bangles. Vicious circle means the circle which takes care of their own benefits. They are selfish people. And daring is not part of his growing up. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. I want to be a motor mechanic. So Mukesh is the only little child who tells boldly and in a daring manner to the author that he wants to be a motor mechanic, and he will go to the garage and learn, but the garage is a long way from his home. I will walk, he insists. I will do anything for that. Do you also dream of flying a plane? He is suddenly silent. No, he says, staring at the ground. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. He is content to dream of cars that he sees hurtling down the streets of his town. Few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad. The author says that he has never seen an aeroplane because few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad, and he has seen the cars moving down very fast in the streets of his town, and therefore he is happy to be a car driver. He wants to drive a car.